Pipilotti Elizabeth Rist is a Swiss visual artist best known for creating experimental video art and installation art. Her work is often described as surreal, intimate, abstract, and having a preoccupation with the female body.
Pipilotti is a person that is quite exceptional, not only in her work, but in her behavior. I think is the only person I know who chose her own name by taking inspiration from the wonderful fairy tales and fables of Pippi Longstockings.
In school, people called me Pippi, and family called me Lotti. I'm always afraid I cannot live up to the name, because the name really promises completely free, with no constraints, without fears, and I'm still working on that.
Ich schraube die Fersen an die Decke, dann lasse ich los.
My work was always colorful, but I think reality is as colorful as my work. And I remember in the video class, my teacher would say, "No, these colors you can't use. They are too primary," and that's true. Then I even more used them because he didn't want them.
The saturated colors, hallucinatory effects, and prominent soundtracks of her works has elicited comparison to the language of music videos. While exploiting the sensuous qualities of the medium, Rist abstained from popular narrative, especially in the way she presented female subjects. Pipilotti's first video brought her national attention. In I'm Not the Girl Who Misses Much, Rist danced before a camera in a black dress with uncovered breasts.
I always think it's the only good work I ever did. No. No. Yeah, so.
Is that right?
Yes.
The images are often monochromatic and fuzzy. As the video approaches its end, the image becomes increasingly blue and fuzzy, and the sound stops.
In that time I didn't think of being an artist. So I sent that to the National Film Festival with the only reason that I would get a free ticket to see the film festival. And they played it, and half of the sound was on audio 1, and then the rest was on audio 2, but they only plugged in the audio 1, so in the middle of the piece in the room. And I got up and I made the sound myself. Yeah, they reacted very emotional. They said, "You touched me extremely," or something. And that was the moment the Swiss experimental film scene realized me. But I was still very far away from fine art or something. It was more experimental film. I got so many reactions to that video. So how can I have my personal relation to that work anymore? For me, the memory of this work lives from the hundreds of reactions I got. They said that they absolutely saw themselves in it. And that's, of course, what I expect of artwork. The complete identification of the spectator. That's like a good music piece, that you cannot distinguish anymore between you and the piece when you hear it. And then from the content that we have in the modern society, often the feeling that we are like puppets. We think of the last 3 months and we think we were not the guides ourselves. We were like on strings. And then we ask, who the hell was it to dirigere us? So if that piece helps somebody to think, do I really be forced to move like this, or could I do it differently? If that gives some step outside and you consider your situation, your next steps, So then I think the work has a Berechtigung, reason for being there. You know, I'm quite heavy to other works when I look any cultural expressions. I ask, does it have a reason to be? And it has more levels in it. Of course, it is also this exorcistic part that we are very good in turning us down. We live in very comfortable societies, but have the tendency to make our little problems huge. So if you have huge problems, they fill your life. If you have small problems, they fill out your life. Now we are really in a critical moment that we will have to give up all discomfort. And if that video helps us to push us up, not always thinking of what we lack, but what we have. Well, if that video helps, that I also wanted to help myself, make a positive exorcism.
In 1996, Rist created Sip My Ocean, a video projected as two mirrored reflections on adjoining walls, offering a kaleidoscopic view of idyllic underwater paradise with a flowing sequence of dreamlike images, including close-ups of bikini-clad women floating and swimming through the waves, along with views of various domestic objects sinking to the seabed.
No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you.
The implicit voyeurism and exaggerated hyperfemininity of such images are complicated by the accompanying soundtrack, in which the artist's rendition of Chris Isaak's melancholy pop song, Wicked Game, is punctuated by her repeated shrieking of the lyric, I don't want to fall in love.
To make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do. To let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say. You never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do. To make me dream of you. And I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you.
Although she denies having an explicitly feminist agenda, Rist frequently merges eroticism and coquettishness with aggression and hysteria to produce provocative fantasies of female empowerment.
World was on fire and no one could save me but you. Strange what desire will make foolish people do.
Pipilotti Rist's work in 1997, Ever is Over All, in which a film of a young woman walking along a city street, smacking car windows with an unexpectedly heavy flower, is placed side by side with calming images of exotic blooms, have earned Rist a reputation as a feminist artist.
Ever is Over All came from a very weak moment when a guy, chefredacteur of a newspaper, And on the title, I wanted to have an old lady, a picture of a lady. And he said, you have to change the cover, we will not sell it. And I just had a picture that I will smash his car. And then I thought, he's not worth that. And from all that, this work came out to use aggression, a destructive moment, to change it and make a hopeful piece.
The first work back in the 90s that we produced with her was Every's Overall. And she smashed my car.
The figure who is smashing the cars is representing the human in the 20th or 21st century. She stands for us that we accept so many things are just given. And she does an action to pretend that smashing the cars would be also given normal, that she would do that every day.
This beautiful transgression, yeah, feeling free to do something in a wonderful way, because it is a flower. It's with the force of nature to transgress against what is also very aggressive, like a car or the industry.
In the car, these little contained boxes, it's like she's trying to smash open that contained box of our own thinking. And it is sort of this symbol of just kind of, bourgeois individuality. Everyone's got their car parked. And I think that's a good kind of manifesto for what she's trying to do with her art, to take something beautiful, like someone walking down the street with a rose, but then to really crack open our locked down, self-contained view of the world.
In an interview, she once said, and I quote, "Politically, I am a feminist, but personally, I am not. For me, the image of a woman in my art does not stand for just women. She stands for all humans. I hope a young guy can take just as much from my art as any woman." Through all of Pipilotti Rist's arts runs a vein of humor and unself-conscious positivity that is all too rare in contemporary art. She's happy to be known as an optimist. "Every artist has an agenda," Rist says, "and my agenda is hope. With the world the way it is, that seems particularly important."